Mr. Boyer?
Present.
Alternates concerned?
Present.
Mr. Madden?
Present.
Solicitor Kunis?
Here.
Mr. Trillo?
Present.
And myself.
So before we even get into public comment, I kind of want to give the planning commission an outline of where we are at with the solar ordinance. If you recall at the last meeting, Megan submitted, I think, 5 different versions, well, 4 including the original, so that now there's 5 different versions of the ordinance. And her submittal, if you recall, this is not a workshop issue, so this is not like the oil and gas ordinance where the commissioners have tasked us with looking at an ordinance and trying to play around with it and figure out where it needs amended. This is a suggested amendment by an applicant. So she has paid the appropriate fee and filed the paperwork in order to have these ordinances sort of processed as is. These are her suggested changes. So really the way that this works is that if there is a version that you like, then you would vote that, and you could obviously vote to recommend that the commissioners approve that version. However, if you are not inclined to do that because there are things in the ordinance that you would like to change or like separated, separate residential, separate commercial, if those are the things that you're inclined to do, and I think Megan would agree, she would prefer that you just vote to not recommend approval and let it go through the process. It still will go to the commissioners. They absolutely have every right to approve that even though you recommend a denial. So it just sort of goes through the process. That said, this doesn't prohibit you guys, if you want to do a solar ordinance, like there's things that you would want to tweak from her ordinance or whatever, of starting your own process. But where we're at right now tonight is these are her submittals, she's filed the application, and so you're really voting on up or down. So if there's not a version that you like, I think in my conversations with Megan, she's going to proceed with version 1, which is her original version. So if you're going to deny, because of whatever reason, all of them, then basically we're going to proceed on version 1, we'll recommend denial, that will then, I will send that to county planning for their comment on it, and it will go to the commissioners for public hearing and a vote on it. So it's going to go through the process regardless of whether you voted up or down. But again, we're not here really tonight to sort of pick apart and think about this. That really are you voting it up or down? So it's more like the Allegheny Energy situation than it is the oil and gas situation, if that makes sense to you. So just want to make sure we were clear. Because if we can head that off, I don't know if we have public comment or if you guys had a lot of things you wanted to discuss in it. I just thought that might help give you a lay of the land and that might shortcut a lot of that process. Thank you.
Russell Romanic?
I'm Russell Pervane from 325 High Street, and I just have a comment on the commercial size photovoltaic type power plant, or electric power plant. I think that should be allowed in, sort of like you do with the gas and oil, in a conditional use in any zoning district. Because the photovoltaic isn't really like a manufacturing plant in the traditional sense. There's no trucks going in and trains going in and a lot of noise and smokestacks and trucks and traffic going out. It just kind of sits there and produces electricity when the sun's shining. So I don't see any reason to restrict it to the industrial zoning areas. I think it could fit in some of the other zoning areas without any trouble at all, really. And I just think that whatever ordinance finally goes in should kind of reflect that. That at least the photovoltaic should be able to go into multiple zoning districts. Now there are some kind of solar power plants that aren't photovoltaic. They like collect sunlight into a receiver and then drive the steam turbine, something like that. That's more an industrial thing, so that's different. But I think the photovoltaic ones, the panels basically just sit there. Like the light, produce electricity, and there's not much noise. So I think they should go, to
Siddick's letter to Mr. Rakunas dated August 18, 2017. And I noticed the lack of the use of Invenergy's legal name and Allegheny Energy Center's legal name. I noticed the lack of the LLC logo on any of the documents or slide presentations. And I also noticed in Mr. Siddick's letter to Mr. Rakunas, it was not CC to any of his bosses in Chicago, that is Invenergy LLC. When Mike Blazer was here asking for a conditional use variance, on the front page was the name of the project, which was Allegheny Energy Center LLC, the name of the attorneys, and the name of the company hired to write up the presentation. Every slide had the Invenergy LLC logo. In Siddick's latest letter and proposal, it still does not include Invenergy's or Allegheny Energy Center LLC. No Invenergy LLC logo was seen on any of their slide presentation. Why would this committee hear a project not submitted by Invenergy LLC, especially knowing that these parcels can never be rezoned to M1 as there are no highways or connecting roads in Smithville? It's not to the industrial commercial code. Then I saw the poultry ordinance was signed in February 2018 and is on the books as a new ordinance. The zoning for chickens changed, but yet there's no hearing and the county never received it. The only way a company can buy those parcels as an M1 is if those amendments were signed and no one knew. Just like the chicken ordinance. If that happened and the parcels were purchased by a company that thinks they are zoned M1, could that company then sue the township for using rezoning to parcels not following procedures? And could the township then be sued, multi-million-dollar suit by, could they settle that multi-million-dollar suit by allowing the special exemption to keep those parcels as M1? Because truth be told, that's the only way that those parcels can be rezoned to M1. Thank you.
I was just gonna say, it's 3 minutes. Just, if I'm allowed to say this, Carol, with all due respect, we're done with the energy company. We had a motion last month to send it off, so
Right.
we're done right now with them.
I understand that, but, how could there's no LLC to it?
So, again, that has nothing to do with us at this point.
That's okay, I just want that
So,
on
but
the
I just
record.
wanted to let you know that.
Just want that on the
So,
record.
okay, thank you.
Thank you.
If there's nobody else, okay, now it's on to the, solar energy. If we would say deny.
Yes.
Can we let?
If you recommend not,
Yes, if we recommend it. Is there a way that we can let the commissioners know that we weren't completely
Recommendations.
against it? That it's just that there were some issues that we were not comfortable with? Would we do that? Because, I mean, it could go complete denial. I mean, I like what you have. Red Dome, I mean, I like them. I would like to try to do it. Well, they sound a little bit splitting, to be honest with you, too. I think it should be, but,
Just to add a little feedback, what I've seen in, just what I've seen kind of in other municipalities, sometimes the planning commission does decide that maybe they like an application, but there are certain things that they don't like about it. So what they do is they issue a letter to the commissioners that outline the issues that they did have. That just kind of lets them know, look, hey, we weren't against the whole thing. However, we did recommend to deny because we weren't comfortable with this, and this, or
I
whatever
would feel
process
more
is right.
comfortable with that than to say no or yes. I mean, that's just, no offense, but I just felt more comfortable if there was some sort of
That's,
little,
I mean, that's totally your,
if
decision.
that's
Yeah,
how it goes. I mean, I don't know, that's just how I feel at this point. So, I'm gonna ask the rest of,
I agree.
you agree with me? David as well? So is that what we'd like to do then, George, Mark?
just say that the planning commission has recommended denial, however, it is not based on the overall concept, it really was based on some specifics that, could not, or, the applicant wanted this to move forward for a time basis, something like that. I'll put it together, and I'll shoot it out to all you guys for any comment, and then I'll get it off to the commissioners, if that sounds okay.
Megan, would that be acceptable to you?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Or what comments are you gonna send? I mean, what is
I'm
it
not
that
gonna
we
send
don't like?
specific comments, that's what I just said, I said I'll keep it generic and just say it's not based on the overall concept, it was really based on the idea that things needed, tweaked or changed in some way. I'm not gonna get into saying it's this, because then we'll be here
Well, then what
again.
are the commissioners gonna say? Oh, or vote on it?
They'll at least
Okay.
understand, well, they're gonna vote on it regardless, but at least I think the idea is that the planning commission is at least directing me to let the commissioners know that it's just not, they're against the whole solar concept. They are in favor of the concept overall, but the ordinance as presented wasn't necessarily what they desired. So the commissioners could do anything they want with that. They could say, oh, okay, I'm still gonna approve it because I like it. They may say, well, no, let's deny this, but let's direct the planning commission to come up with what they want. I don't know what they'll do.
I
I'm
was
just
gonna say,
saying.
they can always redirect it back to us, correct?
Yeah, they could.
So don't throw your paperwork away or anything, because there's a possibility this may come back. So if it does, start thinking of what you think it should be, what direction you want to go. Does that make sense to everybody?
Should we get a list of items together now for the commissioners, what we're recommending for changes, or no, we're waiting?
That's not really your job today. I mean, and this is my opinion. You guys can do whatever you want. I'm only the solicitor. So what is on the table tonight is an application from Megan. She paid the fee to submit the ordinance for you guys to vote to recommend and all that. This is her
That's
process.
basically all this is.
Yeah, this really isn't your process right now. It's her process. So.
I just don't want to completely deny it because I am in favor of it. It's just that I think there are issues on the different ones that she had.
I agree.
So-
Can you use it as a basis to recommend to the commissioners that you open up the solar ordinance to review it and stuff?
I think that's going to happen organically anyway. Based
I think
on
that
her
that's where this is
application.
all going.
I mean, that's up to these guys, however they want to direct me to do it. I mean, I certainly don't want to throw a spoke in the wheels. I mean, she wants this process, she wants them to consider her ordinance, they are going to consider her ordinance. She's entitled to that process, so I don't know if maybe after that's done, we nudge that, or, it's up to them.
Let's
whatever
go
they
to
wanna do.
county.
Yes.
Okay, so we'll go to county first, we'll get a recommendation, then I'm going to go from that.
Yes.
There's nothing there, then we go to the commission.
Correct.
Thank you, is that acceptable to you? Okay. The rest of us, are we good with that? All right. Now, that's my understanding, you gotta come up to the mic, please. Sorry. That's all right. Please state your name.
Cindy Rocha. My question is, some of it, I just got a little bit of what you're saying. So when it goes to the commissioners, then is it their job to brainstorm okay, so how does the ordinance get written? That's what
She's presented it to, so there's a couple of ways that an ordinance can be introduced. One of them is this way, which is the applicant coming forward, not on the curative side, so not saying, she's not saying, hey, your ordinance is defective. One of the ways you can do it is say, hey, your ordinance is defective. Here is a curative, this is an amendment that will cure that defect. There's a process for that.
Okay.
There is another process where the commissioners could direct the planning commission to look and change an ordinance, which we can
Okay.
do. And then another way is that an applicant can just come forward and say, hey, you guys really don't address this issue. I would like to see this ordinance put into place. And there is a process for that, which is the one we're going through.
So they could pick and choose, send it back to you. That could
I don't
be-
know that they can do that
I-
with this particular ordinance, but they
Okay.
certainly could take the overall concept of solar and tell them that they would like the planning
Okay.
commission to develop
That's,
their.
I guess that's what I meant.
Yes.
So they could say, oh, okay, we like this, and this. but
There's a
we're
vehicle to
going-
do that, and that's what
Yeah.
we were just talking about, whether to say to the whether the planning commission should say to them, hey, we're denying this, but we want you to direct us to do that. I mean, it's up to them, but obviously I'm only the solicitor, I'll do whatever I'm directed to do. I just, like I said, I don't wanna throw a spoke in her, I don't wanna throw a stick in her spokes, because that kinda like derailed, I mean, she paid a fee to have this ordinance considered, it wouldn't even be being talked about probably unless she had done this process. So I'd like to see it at least go through that process fairly,
Okay.
and then maybe if it doesn't, then deal with it, because there's a likelihood it could get passed, and then we're done with it anyway.
And it would get passed in the version she recommended?
That's the one that's in the,
Okay.
in the chamber right now.
Because in a way, I kind of agree with the comment that was made at the commissioners meeting, that, yeah, it's been 2 years for them to come up with a solution to, the guy that has the problem with the, Dollar General in Little Boston.
Yep.
So for me, when I was thinking they have to put the puzzle together, that might take the commissioners 10 years to
Yeah.
do that, so I wanted to make sure that I understood.
Yeah, really, the job, one of the jobs of the planning commission is to do that. That's why sometimes these things take so long, because this is more of a brainstorming type,
Yeah, but the commissioners are not.
where the commissioners really aren't,
Okay,
it's not how it's supposed to work. It can work that way, but it's really not supposed to. Really, these guys are supposed to hash out all those issues and then say to them, hey, we're recommending this, and then the commissioner is supposed to take that and say, oh, yeah, I like that, or no, I don't like that. That's really ideally how it works.
I misunderstood what you said, that's why I wanted to
Yeah,
get
no
that.
problem.
I got a little nervous when those people had to come together and,
Yeah, no.
Okay, so Megan, just real quick though, since we talked about having solar panels in the front yard, that would still be in the original one?
The one that I would go with would be the, first, well, technically it would be version 1 of the 5 that I gave you. And the only difference that would be in that one there is
You're talking about
gonna
version
be,
one?
yes, is gonna be the 20-acre minimum for the large system.
Okay, so you're still gonna allow solar panels in the front yard though?
Right.
But not under option 2.
What's that?
But not under option 2, they're not approved.
Right, right. The ground mounted ones in the front yard are prohibited from number 2. The only reason why I personally wouldn't move forward with that myself, is because in the case that you have a landowner who may not, maybe the pitch of their roof or some other reason couldn't afford, or it became cost prohibitive for them to put solar panels on their roof, and they would have to move to a ground mounted system, legally they would still need to be entitled to
So
do
they
so.
it would be just where it was a hardship.
Right, but they would have to prove that in order for that to happen. And that's in there, as far as ground mounted systems, especially in the front yards, that they would have to prove that there are no other means for them to be able to have a usable, use of solar panels on their property.
Okay, all right, thank you. All right,
Yeah, I do, that's.
all right, right now we'll do a motion to have this go forward, we're gonna ask you to write us
Now, you're gonna do, who's taking the motion? You would want a motion to recommend denial of the solar ordinance and direct the solicitor to inform the commissioners, that it's not based on the overall concept. That would be the,
okay, so I need Dan, I need a second. David, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Before we adjourn, because there's nothing else, I wanted to talk a little bit, Sandy, you gave me this stuff last night, if you recall. Some of it was interesting, and some of it was disturbing. And one of the things that was disturbing, and everybody has the first page, is the very first sentence. You listening? We, the planning commission, I'll say, wait a minute, let me talk to him. I don't speak for him. You're speaking for me on this. This really made me angry. You should have done it. That's a no-no.
Really?
Really.
Your
You
opinion's,
don't hear him talking that.
your opinion's noted, your opinion's noted,
Good.
but I do have a question. Here we
Wait a
are.
minute, just a
Okay.
minute. Page 2, you have NRG chief wants us to believe subsurface mining operations, more than 50, what's with the us? Who's the us? Please explain.
I'm thinking the residents of Elizabeth Township. That's who that was
Because
about.
the first page says.
It says Envergy wants us to believe,
Anybody wants to talk about this, please let me know.
us, the residents and the people here, they want us to believe subsurface mining operations.
Sandy, you have no right to put.
I have the right to do that, and you have the right to not agree with it.
Really?
Yes.
Well, maybe call Harrisburg to see if they have.
Well, go ahead.
No, we don't, because this is not.
Well, why would they care about this?
George, Mark, are you okay with her bringing this about us?
I think Kathy's point is that you're presenting as you're speaking on behalf of everyone. I think that's,
Yes, Mark, Dan, what do you think?
I don't like the wording on it.
David,
I'll just have to say.
I think the wording was wrong. If it was you, Sandy, if you were the only one to put on there, I, Sandy Kern, I don't have a problem with that. As soon as I read that, my jaw dropped.
Well, then change it to I, Sandy Hearn, believe this. Does that make it better?
But yes, but you didn't do that here.
But okay, I will do that now, Kathy. I will do that now.
That's wrong, you didn't do that.
Okay,
You're implying.
On the record.
that we Put this on here. You're implying that we said this. That's wrong.
I didn't apply that. I gave this to you as information. I didn't pass this out to the people in the audience. I didn't pass it out to anyone.
Gave it to the commissioners. They have a copy.
I asked for that, yes, I did ask for that.
Yes.
But
You
not-
got it?
I said, I'll change it now. I recommend that the ordinance presented, how's that, I. But I still, can I say something now, or should I wait till you're done? Is there more?
Good talk.
Okay. I'm appalled, no, I'm not really appalled, I'm shocked though, that, the group here, not everyone, but the group here decided to recommend an oil and gas ordinance as a conditional use in all areas, that you decided to make a power plant as a permitted use, yet you're denying solar energy. I don't understand the concept, and I didn't say anything tonight. I've sat and listened, I've watched. It's very confusing. And that's an I find it confusing, Kathy, not we, not us. I, Sandy, find it confusing.
That's fine. All I'm trying to tell you is, I don't appreciate someone speaking for myself, and I'm sure my board here agree with me. They don't appreciate you speaking for them as well. Because as soon as you put on here, we, the planning commission, what does we stand for? What's we? Says Sandy?
I think there's more like me, possibly other people that I represented.
No, that says planning commission. That doesn't say representing these people.
Kathy.
That says these people right here, the city on these chairs. These are the people we're talking
It's noted, and I will amend it and rewrite it to you. Thank you.
Because believe me, I was very angry about that. You had no right to put that in there. Zero rights.
I'm listening to your opinion, Kathy, thank you.